YouTube, it's Lilith the Star here today. I'm going to do something slightly different. As per usual, my girls have decided to wake up now that the camera has gone on, so I'm going to apologise now for the noise that they're probably going to make. However, this is something slightly different for me. I'm going to be making a video on Jeff the Killer. Now, I love this creepypasta. Before we go anywhere else, I absolutely love this creepypasta. Please understand that I am about to rip it apart. Because it's one of those stories that I really love. However, it's not written greatly, and there's people talking to me on Facebook, and there are an awful lot of inconsistencies and incorrectness in the story itself. So I want to address those incorrect pieces because I think it's quite important, because a lot of people think he's a real character. Now, I think he could be a real criminal in the United States, or he could have been based on a real criminal. However, the story as it's stated is not possible. There's too many inconsistencies, okay? So, to start off with, let's start off with, Jeff's moved into this new place, great, and there's kids at the bus stop that tried to take his money, his bus money, and he and his brother say no. And the original kids decide to attack him with a knife. He takes the knife off of them and hurts them a lot. Now, from what I understand, because I don't live in America, there are an awful lot of CCTV cameras about in those kind of places. So there would have been some footage somewhere for the police to look at to say that yes or no, you were attacked with a knife or you attacked these kids with a knife. That's just to start off with. If there's no CCTV footage, let's go to the fact that these bullies are regularly holding up other kids in the area with a knife for money, even new kids for cash, you know. If it's a regular thing, which the story makes it out to be, they will be known to the police. Even if you are threatened with a knife, you may not tell anyone else, but there'll be another person who has the same thing happens to them, who is so incensed that they will go to the police, or they will go to their parents, who will then go to the police. So if this has happened so much, it will probably be known about, and those juvenile delinquents will probably be on the police records. There's another bit after that where they are, after they've attacked these kids, they run to school. Now, if school is as far away as it's supposed to be and they need a bus, they would probably have been late, which would have been a start for them to be identified. Also, if there's only a couple of schools in the area, the police would have probably visited all of the schools at some point during the day. There was, when I was younger, there was only one instance of a knife crime at my school, and the police were there pretty much within the hour, and this happened at a bus stop. So, from personal experience, it would have been quite quick. They would have been harassed at school by the police, or maybe not harassed, but they would have been arrested, or at least statements taken, because you can't arrest someone under the age of 16 without the parents, or you can, but it's a bit difficult to understand. Parents have to be present when you're being questioned, or a guardian. So, while arrested, they wouldn't have been questioned until their parents turned up. Okay. There's also a bit where the next day, Jeff and his brother Lou go home, and the next day they wake up and policemen are at the door, and they take Lou, who they say, who says he attacked everybody with a knife instead of his brother to try and get him off the hook. Now, at that point, police officer says, I think it's going to be 2 years in juvie for you. Yeah, great, you've made a statement. Policemen don't normally make statements like that I'm aware of. My very limited, and I have been in touch with police before. They have very limited, they make very limited statements on that front. It's not their place. They will arrest the criminal, they will hold the criminal and wait for detectives to do the investigation. The person being held will be held until bail is made or until they can be moved to a higher security prison or something along those lines, and then they will have to appear in court, etc, etc, etc. So policemen don't do that kind of thing. They often don't know the full story behind the crime when they catch you. They are just there to catch you, keep you away from everybody else and safe, and everybody else safe from you. So that kind of annoyed me a bit once I started looking into the story. On a previous factor, Lou is sent to jail within a couple of days, as in full-on high-security prison in a couple of days. This wouldn't happen in real life. This can take weeks before you get a sentence. It's very rarely as quick as all that, because people have to do the full investigations. The kids would be questioned, but so would Jeff. Jeff would be questioned, the kids would be questioned. So Randy and his friends who got stabbed would be questioned, their parents would be questioned, their original criminal records would come up, probably, because I still reckon and stand by the statement that they would have one already, because they've done this before several times. You know, they'd be known at least. Right, also, I have had a friend who has been stabbed, okay? Knife wounds take a very long time to heal. They're not quick, they don't let you out after less than a week, and depending on where you're stabbed, you probably won't be doing much because the muscles in that area will be in an awful lot of pain. Also, if you're underage and you've been on any form of medication, you will probably be kept at home under guardian supervision so that you don't hurt yourself any more than normal. So a week later, they probably wouldn't be out of hospital, and if they are out of hospital, they would be at home and not allowed to leave. They certainly wouldn't be running around with a gun shooting someone because, you know, you've been stabbed. There's another point. So a week later, as I said, Jeff goes to a party and Randy and the kids that he stabbed and damaged have come back to get him with guns, which, depending on which state this is set, yeah, that's fine. I could understand that happening. However, Jeff starts fighting with everybody and he loses his temper and snaps and goes insane and starts killing people. Now, there's a bit where he says he pile drives, I think it's Randy, into the floor without restraining him first or hurting him first, and I don't think that's particularly possible. Even watching wrestling, if they're going to pull off a pile drive, they will punch the person really hard first, or do some other bits and pieces to them first. Sorry, I need a drink. Before they can do that kind of thing. And they're trained to do that kind of thing. I don't know if you could, and especially, I don't think you could pull it off first time and kill someone on your first time. Maybe severely damage them, so permanent paralysis maybe. Okay, maybe if you're really lucky you could kill them, but I still think it's severely unlikely. But that's just my personal opinion on that one. That's not particularly, so yeah, he kills Randy with a pile drive to the floor. And a punch to the heart. Yeah. That one, I don't know. It could happen, but I doubt it. I get the feeling you'd have to be severely well trained for it to happen. But I could be wrong. The second kid, he beats to death with a towel rack. A towel rack that he pulls off the wall. Now, towel racks are normally held in place by long screws like that, and are fairly hard to pull out of the wall, especially when two people are trying to beat the living crap out of you. So, again, while it could have happened through wear and tear, and if it was an old house and all that kind of thing, I don't think it would have happened, because someone beating you up while you're trying to pull something off the wall like that, you've got more and bigger concerns. But, you know. So, it beats the second kid to death with a towel rack, and the third kid, I think he beats to death with a towel rack as well, but the third kid sets him on fire, and he's covered in bleach and alcohol by this point. Now, bleach doesn't burn your skin. It doesn't really burn properly. Alcohol does. But I did some research on that, but we'll get to that in a second. Bleach doesn't turn your skin white. Anyone who's had bleach on their hands will know that it leads horrible burns, because it burns your skin, and burns tend to be red or paler, just not white, which is the way he's described. And alcohol doesn't actually burn that easily unless it's got really high alcohol content, which would mean that it isn't safe to drink, or if it's been heated slightly first, such as in Christmas puds, or putting whiskey in a microwave. You can try it if you want. Please, if you're watching this and you think that yes, it can happen, then please, by all means, give it a go. But be safe. For the love of God, be safe. Or the gods, depending on how you want to go. I'm talking to Loki before anyone gets angry. So that would be really quite hard. It could happen, given the right circumstances, but it wouldn't turn your skin white, and your hair isn't going to go from brown to black, because if it burns that much that it burns your hair is gone. It's all burnt off, and you won't have any hair left, you won't ever grow any hair again. So yeah, I don't think that happened either, because he's always said to have long black hair, and it just it irritates me, because bleach doesn't turn your skin white, and your hair isn't going to go from brown to black when it burns. If it does, so if my hair went black because I had someone set it on fire, I have had someone set my hair on fire recently, actually, in my store. You cut the ends off, and the rest of your hair is still browny red colour. So yeah, in my case. So yeah, it wouldn't do that. Also, Jeff is out of the hospital fairly quickly after burns. Now, burns can take absolute months to heal, and if it was that bad that it's apparently bleached his skin white and turned his hair black, he's probably not going to be allowed out of the hospital without skin grafts. There's going to be major reconstruction surgery on his face. There's going to be an awful lot of no access from anybody. There's going to be what they called infection cells, I think. Big things that just sit over the top of your bed so that no infection can get in. You're going to be in a lot of pain, and it's going to take months to heal. It's not quick, it's not easy, it's not one of these click your fingers and you're out in 2 weeks. It's months. If it's third degree, which is what this story seems to tell us it is. And if your skin does get an infection in that way, you're dead. Doctors struggle to save people's lives when they have third-degree burns, and a lot of the time, yeah, the technology is getting better, the medicine's getting better, and more people are surviving. But a lot of the times, your body can't survive that trauma; it just goes into shock and gives up. So yeah, and also, at least in England anyway, people who suffer this kind of thing, especially at the hands of a traumatic event, they are given free counselling. So by this point, they would have known that there was psychologically something wrong. And by this point, he would probably be institutionalised after this horrific accident, after recovery, if he was that bad. Or his parents would have picked up on it, I reckon. They wouldn't have been allowed to take him home that soon after his recovery. He would have been kept in for monitoring to make sure that he was okay and he was recovering correctly. So, yeah, then the whole hospital thing kind of pisses me off a bit, because it's not that quick, it's not that simple. And the last couple of things, now, there's two really big ones for me. Now, Jeff has big black eyes. I've got fairly black eyes at the moment because I'm on new medication and I'm not sleeping. I'm sorry. I look awful, I know. But his eyes are supposed to be black because he's burnt off his eyelids. Now, eyelids are really useful for two things. They keep your eyes hydrated and they protect your eyes from dust and scratches and continuous... Without your eyelids, your eyes will dry up. Without your tear ducts, your eyes would dry up. Which would mean that you wouldn't see. Without your eyelids protecting your eyes from the dust and helping getting rid of the dust in the air, your retina would end up with so many scratches and cuts, and that they would end up cloudy and grey. So you know all these zombie films where they have yellowy blue eyes? It's because they're blind, because their retinas don't work, because they're not blinking. Because they don't need to blink, because they're not using their sight to see their prey. So unfortunately, if Jeff the Killer did burn off his eyelids, one, he'd be in immense amounts of pain, and there's only been a couple of serial killers in history that I'm aware of that have actually managed to do this much damage to themselves. He would be blind. Permanently, irrevocably blind. Unless he saw a doctor and got them grafted back on, and if he did that, he would have been caught. Also, the large smile that he carves into his face. Now, I can believe that he cut his face into a smile, but I can't believe that he cut it so bad that his jaw fell open, which is how he's pictured a lot of the time. Glasgow smiles work because, yeah, they do cut all the way into the muscle, but most of the time, and they can heal with the correct medical treatment, but the muscles are gone. It would be really hard to talk. It would take years for it to grow back. Your jaw would be constantly farther open because there's no muscles to keep it closed. You wouldn't be able to talk. Even that sound was made by me slightly moving my jaw. So, yes, I can believe that he cut his face. Maybe just drew a knife or like a scalpel over his face so that he had a permanent smile. That can heal quite, as long as it's like not all the way through the cheek. Because, you've got muscles here that are allowing you to talk and move your mouth, move your jaw, and eating would be difficult as well. So, yeah. A little bit of debunking. As I've said before, I absolutely love Jeff the Killer. So, I'm actually kind of sad that I had to do this, but I just wanted to point out some niggling little story bits that I didn't enjoy. But anyway, I have to go now. I will probably talk to you all later. Take care, YouTube.